Andrew Tang is world class at Ultra Bullet on the internet. Other than that, I have no comment. Oh yeah, I forgot. Naroditsky's not playing in the tournament, but he's tied for second. Okay. That's right. Go Trump.
Heavy is a DJ 88.
Yeah. Okay. Now watch this. This is super complicated, but it gets us to our king and pawn endings that you studied recently. Yeah.
Hey, what is... I can't see the name of...
Okay, so white is Daniil Dubov. He's in the news lately because he was helping Carlsen.
Magnus,
Yeah. And then Abhimanyu, which is the only good Abhi in the world, not the American one who's like is a grandmaster. Puranik. Yeah, he's good. Yeah. Okay. So this game's obviously a draw because you can't win. It's a good reason why it's a draw. Okay. The one winning idea, although there's two winning ideas, the one winning idea that's obvious is rook takes pawn, bishop takes rook, king takes, and that just loses because black queens. So they moved around and around and around and around and around, and both sides made about 7 blunders. Now, when I say they're blunders, I mean like if two engines were playing, you would assume that somebody finagled with the engine because they don't play this badly, ever. But they're humans, and even though Dubov is like top 20 in the world in blitz chess and slow chess, and Abhi's the best Abhi in the world, the truth hurts. Okay, so black played king d8, and he's just chilling. Okay, king f5, king e8, exclam. Now, I'd like to point out, for those of you that are confused, king c8 loses. And king e8 does not lose. And you would think, but now I don't think, because I see the rest of the game and you don't yet. You would think if he played king e8 instead of king c8, he suspected king c8 lost. But he did not suspect that. So I think it was like everything draws, I'll do whatever I want. That's what I think. But king e8 does draw, and bishop moves that defend the pawn draw, and king c8 loses, but he didn't do that. Okay. Now, why it loses, we're going to show later.
I'm about to say, because
we're going to show later.
I'm not able to see that.
We're going to show later.
All right.
Okay. So king e5, okay. King d8. This move is silly, but it doesn't matter. Okay. All right. And king b7. Okay. So now black can just be hanging around, right? Like in rounders. Hanging around. But instead of hanging around, this is just a draw, nothing's happening. Okay. He decides, instead of hanging around, that now it's time to go to the back rank, which doesn't make any sense. However, it is a dead draw. So probably he was being lulled into a false sense of security because white hasn't been trying to win. White just moves his king and rook around.
Right.
But there's no reason to put your king on the back rank, but it's okay. It doesn't lose. All right. So his king's stuck on the back rank. Okay. And now he made the losing move, if I remember the game. King b8. And now white's winning. And Leko and Gustafsson, which is the only commentary we watch, it's barely watchable. Not only are they bad commentators, I used to think Leko was a good commentator until I watched him a lot. But Jan is sick. Jan shouldn't be commentating. He stops his microphone and leaves the room a lot and coughs.
Oh, really?
He's coughing all the time. And also his daughter's bugging him during the stream, which I like. He has a very small child and she's like, rawr. Right. Yes. I like that. But he's sick. So he's coughing, he's choking on his own rage, basically. Okay. And Leko and Gustafsson were pointing out whenever black played king b8, the engine went crazy, but they didn't know why. Then they knew why as the game. Okay. So here's what white did that was genius. And this is something nobody will ever understand except Dubov, me, and other super GMs. Dubov made it look like there was no possible way to win by moving around randomly. Mm-hmm. Genius. And then Abhi's like, all right. So what happened, which you guys don't know about, I have information you don't because I'm a grandmaster, is they thought it was such an easy draw, they put the other obby in, the American one.
Yeah.
That's why black ended up losing. Okay. So king f2 double question mark. King f4 wins. Okay, but we'll discuss why later. Now it's a draw again. King b8 double question mark. King d8 draws. Okay, king h4 question mark. In this position, rook takes g4 wins. Something that neither player noticed. And if the king is on these squares, white's winning. If the king is here, it's a draw because we can get the opposition against this king.
Get in there, yeah.
Okay, but now we can't. And Dubov didn't know that because Dubov didn't have any time on his clock. Also winning is what he did, and now he has to play rook takes, which wins, but he didn't. And then that loses, and king d8 draws. So every move black is blundering and white is blundering. Now it's a draw again. And then that's a blunder. He has to play king d8. We're going to show you why later. And finally, he took the pawn. Okay. And we're going to show you why king d8's better. Yeah, and now this is an elementary winning king and pawn ending. This king can't stop this king. This king's coming. We're going to shoulder you and so forth. So the only way to not lose is to try to, do that.
Yeah.
But that loses. Okay, and it's also very similar to the end of my game with Gennady Sosonko from ORA 1989. Unless it was 1990. Right, sweetie? Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, she said yeah. Okay, so he played here, and then it says there because white played king here, and the game ended, and they put the kings here. So whenever the last move is this for either side, and the move doesn't make any sense, that means the move wasn't played. That's what that means. That means they put the kings in the center, but the computer didn't record the correct king e6. Now in this position, black has two moves of note. Mm-hmm. King here and king here. He chose to resign instead. If king here, this wins. As they like to say on my stream, trebuchet. Mm-hmm. Me? Okay, ball. Now Karen.
Yeah.
If he had played here, what's the one winning move for white?
Let's see. King d7.
Right. Yeah, then king here, then here. Right. Now, this was first named by me, this maneuver, and it's called the back that ass up maneuver. That's what it's called. You go here, then you back that ass up. Yeah. Now, let's go back and let's pretend that black was a strong player, okay? And he played king d8, which he did earlier. He played king d8, king e8. That was all correct. Mm-hmm. Now, if we ever sack this when the king is on here, of course, the king here, white can never take that because white's going to lose. But, all right, that's a different story. So black needs to play king here, king here, king here, Papa John's, okay? But understandably, black doesn't like Papa John's. Very understandable. So now if we take, okay, now it's a draw because now we're threatening here. So if black goes here and here, that's good for black.
Right.
So white has to go here. There's no other move. And then opposition draw. And also king f4 is a draw because opposition draw. Okay, also Operation Dumbo. Also king e6 draws. So all black had to do to draw was what he was doing much earlier in the game. Then he forgot what he was doing. Okay, he put his king on, he played king d8, right? Mm-hmm. And then he played king b8 losing, and then 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 he lost. So he made the losing move like 7 times in a row. And to be perfectly frank, this is the only way to try to win. Because if you set up where the king and rook can take this pawn and sack the exchange, that's just winning for black.
Right.
So the only way to win is to take this. And he let him do it like 7 times in a row instead of when he went here sort of randomly earlier, which makes him, he can't do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a blunder. Not because it's really bad and he's ashamed of himself. That's an easy mistake to make because he's got 5 seconds on his clock or whatever, although he does have increment. The reason it's a blunder is he let white do it like 8 times in a row. That's, you can't do that if you want to be the world champion. You can't like blunder every single move. Although Magnus blundered every single move in about 4 games, so I guess you could. Yeah.
What's the rating discrepancy?
Guys, Puranik's good.
Yeah.
This is Blitz chess, so he's a good Blitz player. He's probably 26, 30 feet in slow chess. He's probably better in Blitz.
Oh.
Although I thought he was better in Blitz. Okay, next, if you're a YouTube editor,